ప్రెసెంట్ చేదుగాను, ఫ్యూచర్ భయంగానే ఉంటుందంటారు. కానీ ఎప్పుడూ మధురంగా ఉండేది పాస్ట్ మాత్రం.
Hello everyone, I am Raghavi.
And I am Abin.
We are your hosts for today. Welcome you all to another interesting episode of Escape Room presented by Inkheart IET and ITK. This time we have a multiple award-winning filmmaker, writer and producer Deepak Reddy, who is best known for his short films Manasana Maha and Hide and Seek. He did his BTech in electrical engineering and completed his master's in industrial engineering from University of Houston. But he decided to take up filmmaking as his full-time profession as he felt storytelling is his strength and passion. After the short horror film Hide and Seek, which won him appreciation among the Telugu film circle, he got an opportunity to work as the assistant director for Shekhar Kamula's Fida. His short film Manasana Maha has won more than 500 accolades, including the Best Short Film at the Indian Film Festival, Melbourne. It was also selected for screening at different film festivals in the UK. It has also won prestigious Jade Crystal Award in the annual Detroit Trinity International Film Festival. It marked the first time a Telugu short film had ever won most international awards. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Raghavi. Thank you, Abin.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you guys? It's been a tough time to all of us. So I'm expecting you are doing well.
Yes, sir, we all are.
So how has the pandemic affected you?
Yeah, it's been really tough time. As creative people, we needed more sunshine and air, which we aren't getting right now because we've been quarantined for so long. But somehow we need to get going, so still working whatever we could from our homes.
Yeah, that's great, sir. So now we'll move on to the questions. Okay, so the first question is, how was your experience of pursuing engineering, and did you work in that field before going into film industry?
Back in the days, it was around 13, 14 years back. We didn't have much choice about the technology wasn't so developed, and we didn't have much choices. So our parents used to make our choices, most of them. So my brother and mom, they thought electrical engineering was best because it had they used to say a lot of things about they have issues about IT, IT. What if there'll be recession and all? So they thought electrical is an evergreen, branch that can bring out better things in life. So I just randomly picked electrical because my mom wanted me to pick. So, but after taking after getting into electrical engineering, I love that subject. I become networks and circuits used to excite me a lot. So I love doing my triple E, engineering in electronics and electrical both. So yeah, for 4 years like just passed I don't say that I loved I wasn't in love with my academics and all. I did, and it was a great experience for me. After that, but I didn't know that that I was going to take a core side electrical job or something. So I got a job from my campus placement. So I got placed in Tech Mahindra way back in 2012 it was. And I did take up the training program. I went to Pune from my hometown, so I did my engineering from Karnool, which is in AP. But after getting there, then I understood that it's not my cup of tea because I didn't know I was because I used to love film. I did electrical engineering, but I didn't even know where I was working on. Also, I didn't know the purpose of me being in IT. So I wasn't in love with programming or Java scripting or whatever it is. So I just came out of it. So that was my academics, steady voice before I started making films. Soon after that, I again went to masters. I did my masters because again I was scared by my family that they used to think about, it's very difficult to get into film and all. You don't have contacts, connects and all. So probably it's better if you go into, the subject that that you're familiar with. So I took my industrial engineering and did my master's from Texas. So yeah, that's what I've done. So that is my work related to, so other than filmmaking, my education and work.
That's great, sir. I think like these days, parents are changing and letting their children choose their own field of interest. But yeah, your story was also great.
Okay, so the next question is, when did you decide to become a director? What or who inspired you to pick up filmmaking?
So yeah, I always had this in my mind. I used to watch films a lot. I used to watch every Telugu film that used to release when I was a kid. I'm talking about when I was 9 years, 10 years old. I used to just ask all my uncles who used to come to my home or my relatives, and I was like, please don't bring me gifts. Just take me to movies. I love watching movies in theaters. So they used to take me to movies and all. So every weekend I used to watch a film like a Saturday or Sunday. So, but I never knew, as you all know, film, you don't know how to make a film. You know, you don't even know the crafts and all that are related to filmmaking. So I used to think like I was just attracted to watch films a lot. So soon after, like, as I was growing older, I used to think about their crafts. There's acting, there's music, there's a lot of other stuff that's making it, it's all together is put together is it's a film. So when I was doing my intermediate, and after that, that was the phase when I understood that there used to be there's like directors who make films. They are the one who write and make something. The actors and all just come and act. So these are all crafts. Then I started loving the craft of filmmaking. So it was during my graduation, like engineering days, my bachelor's days, when I completely understood what film is. The technology started improving. Like, I got internet when it was way back in 2008 or 2007. Uh, that was the time when we used to, I got connected to technical departments of filmmaking. So I started learning about it, and there are a lot of filmmakers that have inspired me. I can't just name one or two. So because a lot. That was the time, 2008 and 9. My graduation days was when I got my internet connection and I started exploring world cinema. So I started watching Stanley Kubrick, Alfred Hitchcock, Tarkovsky, and there are a lot of filmmakers, David Lynch. See, I just watched every possible film because as I told you, like, film always fascinated me. So a lot. I can't even name a few. There are like hundreds of filmmakers who have inspired me. So to be frank, so I don't know how many of you guys are from AP or Telangana, Telugu guys, but yeah, you always love your own cinema more than others because this is what you can relate to. These are the places that you've been to, and the star worshipping the directors that make you feel like the world that you live in. So, as to name, Ram Gopal Varma is one of the filmmakers that have created a huge impact on me when I was a kid. Satya was one of my favorite films. Like, it's one of the best films that I've ever watched. So Ramu sir is one, and I watched this film called Arya when I was 13 years old. It's directed by Sukumar. So Sukumar sir is one of my favorite filmmakers, and to name, yeah, there's some films. There's a film called Bommarillu which has inspired me a lot. So I watched that film around 11, 12 times in theater. So there are a lot of films and filmmakers that have really inspired me to take up film as full-time career.
Okay, that's great, sir. I guess everyone should go, like, just not follow what their parents or what just the technical things, but to take up their passion and follow for that also. It's really great inspiration for me.
And what was your parents' reaction when you told them that you want to go into filmmaking and leaving the career in engineering?
Uh, when I got placed into Tech Mahindra, it was in 2012, I guess. When I got placed there, my mom was very particular about. She wasn't so particular. She said like, "I'm happy because you got placed, so your life is set." So, but it was but it went on like a disappointment for her because I was like, this is not what I've thought about. So because I just attended the interview because it was the drive was done, the interview drive was done in my college. That's the reason I've attended it, and I got it because I wanted to prove that I'm capable of getting a job, but I don't want to do it because my passion is somewhere else. So she's like, she wasn't like, you don't know the career in film is very difficult. So I don't think you can survive there. Then I was like, just give me 1 year of time because there was a slight recession because we didn't get our offer letters immediately after we got placed into Tech Camp. So it was 1 year. They delayed it by 1 year. So I was like, please give me 1 year of time. I'll go to Hyderabad and just try my luck, try to do film and all. So she's like, okay, just go. So I did my stuff for 1 year, but I couldn't achieve anything in that 1 year because I didn't have so much contacts and there was a lot of trouble coming here. But soon after I was called by Techem, I went to my mom and I said, Mom, this wasn't what I like because I just did engineering and all because you wanted me to do, and you always told me soon after you finish your engineering, you can just drive the passion. If your passion is still driving you, you can go do that. So now I'm begging you, please let me go do whatever I want. So like she didn't say anything. She's like, okay, if you think you can stand on by your own and not dependent on us financially, then I think you are good to go. So she's like my biggest support. So these words have meant a lot to me. Not supporting you financially or not supporting you in any aspect because they are not from this industry. So they don't know what happens here, but they just like they believed in me and like you do go and do whatever you want. If it's making you happy, I'll be happy if you're there. So my mom was always supportive in this context. She never did. She's still supportive.
That's really nice, sir. Uh, like you tried to like fulfill your parents' wish and then go towards your passion. And it's really nice to know that your mom is very supportive towards this field.
So I would like to know if you had taken any course on filmmaking after engineering.
Yeah, I tried to do my diploma in film technology. It's called DF Tech. So a lot of people do that to know the basics of filmmaking. So I try to do that, but I'm not a conventional filmmaker. I don't. I'm not a kind of a person who follow, who think a film has a format and all. So I couldn't fit in there, So this is what I love, and I know I want to explore new things in this. So I couldn't fit in a film school, so I was a dropout. I was a film school dropout. I just studied film course for like 3 months, I guess. That's it.
That's really inspiring to hear, sir. Like going for a different direction in movie making and making your own impact on this industry. It's really good to hear from you.
And like, what kind of difficulties did you have to face while switching the career from engineering to filmmaking?
A lot actually, a lot of difficulties. Because as I told you, those were the days when all of us were like we were. The technology wasn't so developed, back 10 years back. This is not the way it was. Right now, we are able to connect with an interview on Google. It was very difficult even to just to find a person or app to hang out because you need the only thing you could have done is like with a physical presence. So. Career, as we know that if you have some course, you get an interview, you get a job, you go to corporate setup, and you go to a corporate ID job. But in film, it is very, very, very difficult. So you don't even know how to approach, whom to approach, where to go. So this took a lot of time. Right now, today it is a lot of people message, text me on Facebook, Instagram, everywhere because it's so easy to reach out to people. Back then, it was difficult, so you barely had Facebook accounts and all, and none of them used to respond, like all the producers and directors and all. I tried to reach out to a lot of people to whom it was years, like some few years I tried to do this, and it was very difficult. Then I thought about yeah, that's a different answer that I can answer you. So yeah, it was very difficult because nothing was easy back then. I think technology has made it pretty easier to all these this generation filmmakers. Uh, Now it is an easy opportunity to a lot of people to reach out to anyone that they want to, like the favorite filmmakers, directors. There are everybody's on Twitter. You can, if you can reach out to them if they like your work and all. They're very supportive. Yeah.
Uh, that's you had to face a lot of difficulties, but it's nice to know that like now you're going towards success and you'll be having more success in the future.
Thank you.
So there may be people who really want to get into this field, like directing and stuff, but they might not know anything about camera and lenses of that sort. So, people who have no knowledge of these things, can they really get into directing?
So definitely to know about it, directing is two kinds. It's theoretical and also practical. So you need to know the theoretical stuff first. You start watching films. First of all, you need to be a visual filmmaker. See, any director needs to have a bit of visual sense. Without visual sense, you can't do anything. That's an art. That's an art that you need to find out from yourself if you are an artist. So when you feel like you can do that, then it is of two kinds. One is theoretical, one is practical. I watched a lot of films for so long, so I have impact of a lot of filmmakers and films on me. So that is how you create your own, image. Your own like moving image. Uh, but the technical aspect is the second side. If you want to be a visual storyteller and don't know the technicalities how to get it done, then you can't be a complete filmmaker. So there's definitely you need to know about, you don't need to not know about too much of depth, like as if a cinematographer has to know, but you need to have the basic sense of cameras and lenses. So you need to have, if somebody comes and asks me like, how are you going to get this shot, then I will definitely answer, I need this kind of camera because the image that I wanted to get for this film can only be possible with this, or this is the camera that enhances, these are the lenses that enhances the shot that I'm trying to make. So it is for sure you need to know about the basic knowledge of cameras and lenses. Without that, you can't be a director. I don't want to lie, because a lot of people just think about just writing a script makes you a director. It can't be like that. There's definitely I won't even say that you need to learn or learn cinematography to make a film, to direct a film. So you need to know basics of all crafts. All 24 crafts are basic. As you're an artist, you need to blend all those to make a moving picture end of the day. So they are the basics.
Because thanks, like many people might have got an idea of what it is like to be a director.
So a lot goes into making a shot. So like for instance, creating the feel of the shots include the props in the background, characters, dialogues, music, and camera. So how do you decide on these things, and what is the order of execution and planning of these tasks? And how can we, as a beginner, if we are interested, make a shot just as it is in our mind?
So first, the basic thing when you are telling a story is the emotion. So you need to know you need to emote a scene or a shot or a film or whatever it is. There's a core emotion that lies in every bit of the story or scene that you write. So in order to get that, whatever you feel, that emotion, whatever you want audience to feel, that all these other things, the craft that I spoke about, maybe that it can be writing, it can be the background score, the cinematography, editing, and all these things. First, you need to have a basic idea of what you're gonna do. So that is what that has to inspire you to make something. So that is what you need to write first. Then you start visualizing it. Some people get visuals directly. That's a altogether a different concept. See, I made Manasanama. The shot that I made right now was completely a different kind of film. So I don't think all the films work like that. It's an experimental film. So, but for as you asked for basics, for the beginners and all to know. So first you write something that excites you, whatever it is. It's a short story or whatever it is. When you're writing, just write it up and then start visualizing it. What kind of feel makes it, if the scene that you wrote is And emotional in the sense like if you want audience to cry for that, then you write a scene first. You put your emotion, and you also want the audience to empathize with what you have written. So you need to write first, then add, then you're framing the shot. You stage it, you block it, you frame it, and you lit it. You need to light the shot and all. First, you need to have the scene, and then you plan everything to make the audience feel the emotion that you want. There are comedy scenes in a film or an emotional scene in a film. The purpose of comedy scene is to make people laugh. So in order to make people laugh, some people take comedy music in the backgrounds. Like we use some templates on YouTube and all that you get to see. They're the same template score, tidbits or something that makes you. So each director has a different style. So that is completely subjective. What they are using to make you laugh and all. So in the same way, if the emotion that you're trying to convey is to make people cry, then you do that kind of score. Sometimes if you get to listen to a score, a musical score, you don't even know, you feel very sad for that and you start crying. So these are all parts of crafts of filmmaking that just tries to enhance the script that you've written. End of the day, it's your script first, and then you start visualizing it and add all these additions. Be it edit, be it the cinematography, be it the music, all the other things. They just add value to the script that you wrote. So yeah, I think the pattern is about first you write, then you visualize, then you think about what how to make it to get it done with the music or cinematography and all. So the basic thing is idea and writing it on a paper. So without that you can't do anything. You have to start there.
So I think this would have been like a really useful thing for all the beginners who are interested to start something towards filmmaking and directing. Yeah.
Mhm.
So it would be great if you let us know how, from where do you get the ideas and inspiration for writing a script, and as well as how do you start off writing the script.
Yeah, I believe, I'm a kind of a filmmaker who makes films out of their personal experiences. Or, even if I touch different genres, I get to make something which I get as dreams or ideas that strike from me from my real life. So, for example, Hide and Seek was a short that I've made. So, Hide and Seek was a dream for me. Like, I got a dream sometime when I was sleeping. Like, what if I thought, I felt like, you know, I don't drink. I'm not an alcoholic, but I got a dream when I was, where I was like drinking a lot. I was a drunkard, and I was trying to, something was trying to fool me around in my house. Look, who's this? And it's a ghost. So I got a dream, and I thought about. I started writing a story because it was a very vague and abstract thing that came into my mind when I was sleeping. It was barely early in the morning, so I barely remember that. But I just thought about. I just remember two things: an alcoholic and a ghost. So I wrote a story about the backstory of the guy who's like a drunkard for so long. He had a wife, so who's very who felt it's that he's going very out of his place. He's never been with her and all. So he's having his own guest house where he's like hung up for very long, and he's just enjoying his drinking all the time and just getting isolated from the whole society. She tries to teach him a lesson. What if she goes and tries to teach him a lesson and she gets shocked because he's already living with a ghost. This is an idea. This is excited when it's just a 3 minute film. I just wanted to make a micro film out of this, but I wanted to tell the whole story because you can get to see the backstory and also the interpretation that I left in the ending of the film where anything can happen after that. It's left to the audience minds. So it's a kind of an abstract idea that I tried to put in a story and made it. So this was like a personal experience. For me, the superficial and other stuff, they don't excite me a lot. I need to get experienced. So out of my real life and all. So those are the things that excite me a lot. So, but yeah, sometimes if you read a book and it triggers you, sometimes you watch a film and it excites you. An idea can excite you, and you can get a different idea out of a film that you're watching. So a lot of films have inspired me like that. So they all turn into ideas. They all, if you have a core idea with you, and these all things will inspire you to to get what kind of score, what kind of music, what kind of lighting, what kind of cinematography that has to go to get your idea, well onto the screen. So for me, I personally feel like my personal experiences will turn more into films. Either they are all fiction. I'm not saying they're like not they are not realistic or something. I feel like blending fiction with realism gives me a lot of excitement in making films. Yeah, that is how I get it. I get to make films.
That's really good to hear, sir. I think experience really is the best teacher for everyone.
Mhm.
What is your like? Which movie has inspired you the most, and like, what was the most fascinating thing about that movie?
Yeah, I can't just name one. There are a lot. There are a lot of films that have inspired me. But I just want to, because it's only one film, I want to discuss about 500 Days of Summer. 500 Days of Summer, which is directed by Mark Webb, is one of my favorite films of all time. It's the most fascinating thing about the film is the narrative structure, the screenplay, the dialogue, and obviously the acting. It's brilliantly. They did a brilliant job, and there are a lot of things. It's a non-linear film. It's completely non-linear. Right? The most fascinating about the film is the story discusses about 500 days of a girl being with a guy. So it's about a guy called Tom. His name is Tom, and he gets to meet a girl called Summer, and their relationship lasts for 500 days. This is the story of a boy meets girl, and how the relationship goes for 500 days. But the film starts with a random day, like just suppose 300th day where he's about to forget her. She breaks up with him, and she's about to leave, and that's where the film starts. And then he discusses about 215th day, and later he comes to third day, and later he comes from first day when he meets her. So the film is very non-linear. Random days, but still it's been stitched into a way where you get a feel of watching a complete character arc of a hero, of a character that you're gonna watch in the film. And also a magnificent female character who's like very exciting, and there's a lot of mystery around her. There are a lot of things that have been weaved. It's a fantastic film. It's a fantastic film. I still watch the film every day, every day in the sense, like, I've watched it more than, like, at least 100 times, maybe 500 times. I don't even remember the exact time, how many times that I've watched it. But each time I watch the film, I learn new things. I still think, that film is like encyclopedia for writing, and also direction, a lot of things, especially for the style of narrative. So yeah, the film itself is fascinating. Everything about it is fascinating. It's brilliantly made film. Yeah,
Sounds like that movie, the thing is very interesting. I think all of us will also watch it soon.
So,
you should watch it. It's a brilliant film.
yes.
Not just filmmakers. All of you have to watch it if you didn't.
Yes, sir, we'll definitely do.
Yeah.
So, sir, how was your experience in directing Manasanamaha? Like, how were you overwhelmed with the responses and the awards that the film received?
Yeah, actually, Manasa Nama was one of the most toughest, jobs that I've done in my entire life. So I've almost dedicated more than a year to make that film, to make that shot. So it's not because like how difficult to write or make it. That's a purely personal and technical thing that I had to do. But it required it's the first romantic comedy that I tried to make. So the problem was I didn't have much connections, like too many connections to find right people casting, because obviously when you're making horror films or thriller films, you can just bring your friends onto the film and they can act in a film, because you if you know that they suit for the character, you can bring them. But the romantic comedy is a film where you need to have some appealing faces. You need a good looking guys, good looking girls who can also act. So people have to watch them and have to feel like, this guy is charming, this girl is so good looking. And there's a lot of glamour that has to be attached for a rom-com, especially when you're making in India and also Telugu. So we are used to watch something which is very pretty, and so the casting took so much time. A lot of people have rejected. They said, like, we don't want to make any short film, we don't want to act in a short film. So the days have passed, so we don't want to act in a short film. What will I get out of this? I didn't have so many budget, so some people who agreed to act in it asked a lot of remuneration, which I couldn't pay at that time. So it's I couldn't afford to pay. So because there are a lot of things that went on to it. So finally, it took almost 6 to 8 months of time to find the right cast. The casting was the most toughest part. I struggled a lot to get it done. So that was the casting part, and later, yeah, we did a proper pre-production, proper shot division, proper script breakdown, everything. So the script didn't take much time to write. It was hardly a week, and to just develop it and go for the second draft and all, it took maybe a week or more. Sometimes I just did corrections and improvisations, because it stayed with me for almost 6 to 8 months. So it wasn't that difficult part. I just believed in the script, that I loved the script because it was exciting for me. Most of it came from my personal experience, so I was very connected to it. So after that, making it didn't take much time, but it took almost 5 to 6 days to just shoot the film. After that, it took so much time for the post production, because again, I ran out of money. So I didn't have budgets to get things done at a proper pace. So it took almost like many months, like 3 to 4 months, to finish off the post production, because it had a lot of VFX. I had to go sit with the music directors whenever they had time, because the most of them are friends, so we couldn't pay them, and we had to wait till they get free. And also, the music director was my friend, so I used to just wait whenever he used to get free, and we used to work on it. So it was all a tiring experience, but still I loved every bit of it, because I was watching my own film grow day by day. So everything that was coming on it, was new for me. So there was a joy to experience. So soon after, yeah, I never expected. I didn't make this film to send it to any festivals or awards. I just made this film because I didn't make something anything. Being a filmmaker, I didn't even direct a short film for like in the past 4 years. So I thought about, this is the time that I need to make something with which I need to pitch my feature film. As a filmmaker, this is, I don't say I've wasted, but yeah, it took long time for me, because I switched my careers for back and forth twice. So I was like, I need to make something with which I need to pitch my feature. I need to get it. So that was the whole point of making Mansanama, not to send it to festivals and all. But yeah, but people, whoever watched it, thought they felt it is very innovative, creative, and it's one of its kind. So after I made it, yeah, we released it on YouTube, and yeah, it got good response from a lot of people. So like, one of the guys came to me and is like, why don't you send it to festivals? It's very unique and it might win something. So like, I don't have money, so what can I do? I can't send it to festivals. It requires a lot of money. So he's a very kind person from London. His name is Naveen. So he reached out to me and is like, I loved your film. I'll fund it. I'll fund you. Please send it to festivals. So I should be very thankful to him, because he was the first person who made me believe that my film will do good, well, at the festival circuit. So he was the one first initiated. So after I've sent it, yeah, we won few awards and a lot of selections in the first round. So then I reached out to my producer and I was like, I think this film is winning a lot of awards, so it will be better if we spend some more money on this and can send it to festivals. Then we send it, and now this is whatever that has come on my way is not what I've expected. Uh, I never expected anything about it, but yeah, it's really overwhelming. I know people who are around me were saying, like, "What is your film doing? It's winning so many awards. It's everywhere. Like, people are talking about a lot of countries. I get calls from a lot of festival directors, a lot of DOPs, a lot of colorists, a lot of technicians reach out to me after they watch my film at the festivals in Australia, UK, Europe, USA. It's overwhelming, I'm telling you. So it was very shocking in the first few months. Later, I got used to it. Now I don't even respond to a lot of emails when they say about, we want to talk to you about something. So I only choose about which one is better for me. If it's giving me some kind of, if the interviews or awards or something, whichever is giving me some help to pursue, to get more contacts or helping me to reach more audience, then I'm taking it. Otherwise, I'm not even caring about it because there are too many, there are too much.
Yes, so it's really good to hear all those hard works really paid off. Yeah.
So, how was your experience working with the professional directors in the industry, and like what extra could you learn from them?
So I don't say I haven't worked with a lot of directors for sure. I only worked on, but I know a lot of filmmakers because I've got in touch with them. So they treat me as a good filmmaker. So I share a lot of things with a lot of people. So among them, Ramu sir, RGV sir, I used to be a great fan of his, and we met a lot of times and we discussed a lot of things about film and all. He's the one, from whom I've learned a lot of things. Not just as professional, as a guide, and he talks great philosophy and a lot of things. Like, I've been his fan since my childhood. So it was like, way back in 2012 and 11, and I've seen even now sometimes I meet him and talk to him. So he shares a lot of things. Whatever he talks, he doesn't share like stuff like this. You have to make film like this. This is how film has. He never does that. He just does whatever he likes. What I've learned from him is, you need to love your story. You need to love what you're gonna make. So just enjoy like a child. Just make something, do something, do something that you love, and just stay back and enjoy what you have done. So that's what he does. And I worked with Shekhar Kamla Garu on Fida. So it was not a huge, like, I didn't work for the entire film. I just worked for a 35-day schedule. Yeah, he's a very successful filmmaker. He's one of the most happening film directors in Tollywood. So he's like the top, one of the topmost directors. He's known for his very light-hearted, light-hearted love stories, and also, all kind of light-hearted films. So a lot can be learned from him because he knows for a fact, he knows what audience wants. I never knew because I'm a kind of filmmaker who thinks about myself while making film. Like, am I liking it? Is it brilliant, or is it giving me a kick? So then I used to think like that. So soon after I went to Shekhar Garu, and then he used to play songs. Very first time I met him, and he played this song from Fida. This that is called Vachinde. Vachinde. The song name is called Vachinde. So they didn't even shoot that song, and he just played the song. Like, how is this song, Deepak? What do you think about it? I was like, "Sir, this is not that good. This is not your kind of song." I said, "This is not your kind of song. I didn't expect this kind of song from you." I said, and he's like, Vachinde. I just listened to song. It sounded like an item song for me. And Shekhar Garu is known for some different kind of films and songs, so I couldn't even gauge it. And I was like, "Sir, this is not the song that I expect from you." And he's like, okay. Then just wait and see. This song will be one of the biggest blockbusters in Telugu cinema. He said, this will be like celebrated. This song, and soon after the film release, that song is one of the most celebrated songs. I think it got some 500 million or something on YouTube. It's like the most celebrated. Whole India has celebrated that song. So he knows what audience wants. So each and every, I couldn't ever gauge his writing, like, his script and all. So they are like, he knows what people want. That is what, as a filmmaker, that's the very first job of yours, because film is again a business. It's not just an art form. It is both commercial and art form, where he blends both. He writes from his heart, and that resonates with the audience. That is a rare quality that any filmmaker has. He's one among them. He brings out small nuances in his writing and acting and score and everywhere. He's just brilliant. Yeah, I've learned it from him because I always used to watch his films, and I never worked closely with him. That was the first time I did, and I got to see what he's capable of, what he has in his mind. He's just brilliant.
I think knowing so many good directors will definitely be very useful, and like all these learnings seem to be like definitely helping in the future.
Hopefully.
So we would really love to hear something about something of your upcoming projects and all.
Actually, I'm trying to make my first feature film right now, so the details are still awaited because it's still in working stage. So, but yeah, you can expect it pretty soon, like maybe sometime next year or something. The updates will follow. So I can't tell more about it, but it's gonna be a new age story for sure. I hope you'll like it.
So we are all expecting, and we wish you all the best for the upcoming projects.
Thank you, Abin.
Now let's get started with the quick round of rapid fire, sir. So we'll be
Okay,
asking 10 questions and you'll have to answer it in a few words or a sentence. And you can just answer it quickly without thinking much about it.
sure.
Okay, so yeah. Was the transition from engineering to story writing the best decision you have ever made?
It wasn't definitely smooth, but I think yes, it is. It is the best decision I've made.
That's great.
Yes, that's great to hear, sir. So, which book would you love to make a film out one day? Think book or novel?
Which book I
Would
would
you
love to
love to
make?
make a film?
Uh, my mom is a writer. Actually, my mom is a writer. So there are a lot of stories that I always want to make into films. Hopefully not into features, but at least to shorts. And there's one more book called Love Story by Eric Segal. That is that I think that's been made into a film very long back, like in 70s or something. But I would love to make that if I'm given a chance.
It's really great to hear, sir. We're expecting from you all this.
Okay, so if you got an opportunity to remake a classic, which one would you go for?
I would never remake something. I'm not a fan.
Okay.
So, what is the most challenging decision you have ever taken?
Uh, Shifting my career, coming back from US, leaving my whole life behind just for film. That was the most challenging, toughest, and also the best decision that I've made.
That's great. The last good film or web series that you watched?
I've seen a film called Gantumute, which is from Kannada industry. It's brilliant, brilliant. It's one of the best films I've seen in my life.
Oh,
Brilliant film. Yeah.
that's very nice.
So, if a film was made on your life, what would be its name, and which actor should portray you?
I would. Uh, what would be the name? 11 Years a Slave. Okay, and I probably want Jake Gyllenhaal or Joseph Gordon-Levitt to play it because they are my favorite actors.
So,
Okay, and what do you regret not having done yet in life?
I think I've lost a lot of time not enjoying, so I've just been more focused on work and career and a lot of tensions. If I was given time, I would have enjoyed my 20s life better than what I've done.
Okay.
so, are you a morning or a night person, sir?
Night, like I stay awake whole nights, and I whatever, even if I'm playing something or if I'm working, I just do it in nights. I don't. I'm like lazy person in the mornings.
I think most of us are that way.
Yeah.
Who is your favorite director?
So should I only name one or a few from different industries?
Yeah, you can name a few.
So as I said, Sukumar Garu is my favorite from Tollywood, and I love Rajkumar Hirani's films. Like he's one of my favorite directors, and I love Stanley Kubrick is my all-time favorite classic filmmaker. So I learned a lot from his films. Yeah, I think three.
So,
And Gautam
what's your,
Vasudev Menon from Tamil. Gautam Vasudev
yes.
Menon
Yes.
is I forgot. He's my favorite filmmaker. Yeah.
So, which is your favorite movie genre?
So it will be real little weird, but yeah, I love horrors. I love horrors and thrillers.
Yeah.
That's great, sir. So now we've come to the end of rapid fire. So we have one question for you. Like nowadays, there are many youngsters who are passionate about stepping into the film industry. So, what advice would you give them?
Mhm. I definitely see things have evolved a lot. So there's nothing like tech field, a corporate field, film field, anything. So if your heart is saying that you need to be a writer, a filmmaker, just choose it. So there's nothing that you should be, giving a second thought. A lot of people come to my office and they ask for, no, we've done this, we have been educated, and we are leaving job in the US and coming here. So please grant us something. We want to work with you. We are writers, we are filmmakers. So the thing is, these are not the things that you should be doing. You should be saying. You just did it for the security. So for security purpose, you just want to you pursue engineering or you do. If you love engineering, be there. So if you love filmmaking, these are all these are all not the things that have to be said, because you need to bring something onto table. You need to show like I'm a writer. Don't tell me that, not to me, to any producer or director. You guys like don't tell them that I gave up a job which is like which had a 20 lakh package, so I came here just to make films because I have passion. No, you just came here because you're passionate about film. So tell them what you have written. Don't tell them, those days have gone. Blaming something about, this is what I've been sacrificing to get something done. So life is about sacrificing. So when you're passionate about something, then just jump into it and make your best things happen there. So but if you're in two minds, so because film looks like a glamour field. You feel like film is something. Sometimes you watch a film and it's like you criticize it and you feel like this film hasn't to be done like this. It should have been done something else. That everybody can do that. Everybody can criticize a film, but no, it's writing and making it is a different thing. It's not both are not same. So you need to understand if you're passionate for filmmaking or passionate about the art that you're gonna pursue, or you just want to criticize and make fun out of it. So they are two different things. So don't get confused between two and think you can be a filmmaker. So be sure of it. So if you're able to get something onto the table, and if you're able to act, if you can create an impact with your art, with your writing, with your acting, with your direction, or whatever it is, then only take a choice. Because when you come here, and you can't blame like I'm a talented guy and there are a lot of people. So there's competition everywhere. As you have competition over there, there's a lot of competition here. So you need to be very sure about coming here. So before that, you need to make your decisions, and you need to be clear with your parents and whoever it is that you are shifting the careers because you love it, and you need to prove them too. Because my mom was never sure about me coming into films until 2018, 2019, and since until I made my short film, then she's like, okay, you've done something. No, now I feel like you'll get settled. Yeah, I don't think. Still, she's worried. She's always worried about me. Like, what if you fail? What if something happens to you? This will be there for your entire life, because you're not coming from a zero you're coming from a zero background, but you're coming from a technical background because you have a degree besides you. So with which you could settle your life. You can get married. You can have kids. You can have a happy life. That's what every parent dreams about the children. So these are all things. If you think passion is bigger than all this, then only you try. So because it's uncertain everywhere, there is uncertainty everywhere. So you need to make sure you try for it and you fight for it, and then you get things done. So be sure about what you want to do, and for sure, if you want to know about if you're capable of it or not, then make something. Then write something. If you want to be a writer, then write something. If you want to be a director, just make a short film or make something. Make a scene, make a music video, make something out of it, which will give you that confidence to get into here. So somebody has to think that you're capable of doing it. So not somebody, some credible person that can judge. A lot of people, and you can just make, a lot of people who are into studies, who are into your NITs. They also are making short films and they put it on YouTube and they get a lot of feedback from there, and then they think like, okay, this is a better field for me. Then you can shift. You have to be both financially and also financially fit too, because it's not a field that's gonna give you like monthly salary, like as if you get after your graduating from your engineering stuff and all. So there are a lot of things, but if I start talking about it, I can give you a lecture about for hours and hours. But these are the basic things. These are basic things that can uh, guide you. That's what my 2 cents that I can give.
This is a very realistic thing, and yeah, it will definitely help all of us who are interested to like go ahead in that.
Yeah, so unfortunately, we have come to the end of the session. So I really wish to thank you for joining us here. It was a really good delight to talk to you, and we are looking forward to see more of your amazing work. And I am sure that many of the ambitious and aspiring filmmakers could benefit from your experience, from your tips, and from your ideas. And we all wish you all the best for your future endeavors, sir.
Thank you, Avin. Thank you, Raghavi. I had a very nice time talking to you guys. It's been very long since I, uh, spoke to young guys like you, like tech guys like you. So yeah, I had a lot of fun. Your questions were so good. So especially the rapid fire round. Yeah, I had fun.